Garry Kasparov is known for winning games by sacrificing major material, and but in this game against Tigran Petrosian, he loses because after the sacrifices that he attempts, he makes two blunders which cost him the match. So Petrosian is playing with the black pieces here, and Kasparov is playing with the white pieces. So after b6, looking to fianchet this bishop, a3 by Kasparov, and bishop goes to b7 and knight to c3, making this the Queen's Gambit. The Kasparov Petrosian variation is now played. Queen's Indian defense is being played right now. So d5 by Petrosian, now hitting the pawn structure on that particular c4, and the c pawn captures the d5 pawn, and knight captures back. Pawn push to e3, activating the light square bishop, and bishop to e7 by Petrosian, and bishop goes to b5, placing a check, and the pawn push attacks the bishop and covers the check, and the bishop retreats to d3, and knight captures the knight, and pawn captures back. Pawn push to c5, now eliminating this particular weakness on this c6 square, attacking the pawn structure, and Kasparov castles on that particular king side, and Petrosian does the same as of the 11th move. So both players castle a little late as of the 11th move, and queen now comes to c2, threatening check and capturing of this h7 pawn. So pawn push to g6 now, which also weakens up this king side of Petrosian. So it was quite a good move, and e4 is now played. Basically, this allows this bishop to get activated in one single move, and bishop at here. H6 over here, attacking this rook here is pretty threatening, and once the queen manages to come over here, it will be game over if you don't defend properly. So knight to c6 now, activating the knight, and bishop goes to h6 now, taking advantage of this pawn push, which weakened the castle of the king. So rook now is forced to move to e8, which also allows this bishop to come in here and countering this particular bishop on h6, and rook f comes to d1, creating an extra attack on that particular Petrosian's queen. The queen goes to c7, and queen to e2 is now played, trying to bring the queen on that king side, Kasparov. So rook to d8 is now played, trying to counter the rook on d1, and queen now goes to e3, creating a battery on this particular dark square diagonal with his bishop, but it's not threatening anything as of now. So e5 now by Petrosian, trying to disrupt the pawn structure of Kasparov. Kasparov do not go for the capture, and pushes the pawn to d5, attacking this knight, and in the process he also creates this pass pawn, which cannot be obstructed by any other pawns. Petrosian's pawns are both pushed into the fifth rank basically. So it is a good move. Knight to a5 is now played, and pawn push to c4 is done, creating this nice little pawn structure into the center for Kasparov. Knight to b3 is now played by Petrosian, but the bishop coming to f8 here, attacking this bishop and also defending the g7 square would have been better. So the knight goes in, attack the rook, and the rook moves to a2, and after which pawn push to f6 is played, and pawn push to h4 now, and bishop goes to c8 now. So this bishop over here was not doing anything. It's covered by Kasparov's nice little pawn structure, and bishop to c8, even though it cuts off this connection of this rook, is a good in-between move, and it also got this square here on e6 over here, so not allowing Kasparov to use it as an outpost launch attack. So rook comes to b1, attacking the knight, and the knight goes into this nice little square of d4. So knight, you need to capture such knights when it's there. Knight captures the knight, and the pawn captures back, and with an attack on the queen, and the queen goes to g3 over here. So now Petrosian got his pawn over here, but it's nicely covered by this particular bishop. Even though this bishop is here, it's not doing much behind its own pawn over here. So it's not that a great bishop. So bishop to f8 by Petrosian, and after which bishop retreats to d2, and bishop goes to d6 now, creating an extra attack on the queen. So rook comes to f1 now, and queen goes to g7. A better move was to bring your king over here to g7, and would have been better over here, and a4 is now played. A better move would be to bring your bishop over here with the support of the pawn, and get rid of this bishop, which is having an extra attack on the queen, and pawn push to a5 now, in return of the a4 pawn, preventing that pawn from pushing, and rook comes to b2, attacking this backward pawn over here at b6, and bishop goes to c5 now. Now the bishop acts like a, even though it's looking at an x-ray with against the king, now bishop acts like a tall pawn right now, and both these bishops are not doing anything at the moment. So f4 now, basically attacking the pawn structure. Kasparov pushes f4 and bishop goes to d7, reconnecting the rook and also attacking this pawn over here. So h5 is played, ignoring that attack, and after which this pawn is captured by Petrosian. But a better move would be to capture this pawn with the pawn on g5. Even though the queens get exposed, you can just move your king to h7 to safety, h8 to safety, and h6 is now played here. So here, instead of capturing this pawn, queen to c7 is played. So if you capture like this, the pawn will capture this pawn with an attack on the queen, and once you move the queen, you will lose another pawn, and the rooks will just storm in down the king, and you're looking at a very good attack, and capturing it will give a significant advantage to Kasparov. So queen to c7 is now played, and pawn push to f5 is played by Kasparov, but a better move would be to still to capture this pawn, and after the capture you have this open f file for the rooks to double up and launch an attack on the king's side. So especially with having a pawn over here at h6. Pawn push to g5 is played, covering off this particular pawn's influence, and now bishop to g5 move is played by Kasparov. Petrosian accepts that, and the queen captures back, and once the king moves here, then Kasparov makes this blunder looking move. Queen goes to f6 with a check. The best move was to push the pawn over here and then probably bring your queen with a check, and you will be forced to capture, and you'll have a double up pawn here on that 7th rank and you'll still have other pawns to come up over here as well. So instead Kasparov went for this queen move, which basically equals the position, and king escapes to e8, and after this rook comes to a1, giving black a little bit of advantage. So the queen comes to e7, and after which queen to e6 is now played, and a rook comes to d6, attacking that queen, and the queen goes to g8 with a check, and the queen covers looking for a queen exchange Petrosian, and the queen goes to g3 over here. Now queen into h6 is played, even though engine suggests the best move would be here to move the king over here to f7. Kasparov in the next move makes a blunder and brings his rook here over to a4 over here. The best move would be to bring your queen over here to g8 with a check and continue the game. This allow Petrosian to go to c1, queen to c1 plus check, and this rook boy here is gone, and after the king moves, this rook is captured and Kasparov resigned the match. So that's the game. So two mistakes by Kasparov costed him this match. After this bishop exchange, he would have gotten a bit better position, but due to his blunders, he lost the match. So even the great players can make such blunders. You just need to look for that and capitalize on the opportunity, and Petrosian won the match. Petrosian instantly is a great player. So thanks for watching. We'll be back with more such videos.